welcome, 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 welcome. Please tell the good people who you are and what they need to know about you in a brief 30 seconds, I guess.
Hello, everyone. My name is Klaudia. I'm a learning and development specialist and a work psychologist. I always say that my purpose at work is to boost happiness in the workplace. And I'm also a co-host of a podcast called And Happiness, which is all about the science behind, well, guess what? Happiness in the workplace. So, hello.
Oh, you're being very shy as well. I think the words award-winning podcast should probably have come from there, shouldn't they? Let's be honest with you.
Well, it's a new thing that we're still celebrating. We still haven't got to the idea that we've been a runner-up in the Pods Awards 2020, sponsored by Buzzsprout. But thank you so much for reminding me.
It's the joy, a source of happiness. We've got to jump on board all of those. So we are going to talk all things happiness, and I think I'm in safe hands to have this conversation. Let's kick on. We're going to talk about why should I even consider happiness in my workplace? And I think one of the questions, so the caterer have been Googling, looking at some questions that have been Googled, and one of them was, can I be happy at work? And that genuinely made me sad that people are kind of asking that question. Why should I consider that happiness in the workplace is important, Klaudia?
Well, yeah, completely agree. I feel like happiness, may feel like a huge stretch. Like, what? Happy in the workplace? So I can understand that Googling question. Like, people are not sure. Is that actually possible? And this is especially that we've been told that when we are successful, then we'll be happy. But we know from very rigorous research in positive psychology, neuroscience, and management studies all around the globe that knowledge has been backwards. When we are happy, we will be more successful. And happiness is that fuel behind extraordinary achievements. So why to consider it? Well, because very smart people put numbers and they're showing us that the happiness is a real predictor of some of the successes that we care about in the workplace. So we now know from extensive research that people who are happy in the workplace, which means they are experiencing positive emotions, are more productive, precisely by 31% than those who are in negative moods. They are better equipped to deal with adversity. They are 3 times more likely to innovate. They are able to create more positive atmosphere in work and provide excellent customer service to clients. And they are even 40% more likely to receive promotion.
I mean, there's a load of numbers there that kind of just think I should be seeking happiness in my work.
Absolutely. And I think this is the biggest aspect of happiness. It's not fluff. It's not something that is, well, let's consider it. It's actually a very important predictor of what benefits we can be experiencing in the workplace. And it's not magic. Okay, so it's not that magically that's what's going to happen. It's very simple that when we're experiencing positive emotions, our brain simply works much better at all cognitive functions. And because of that, we are able to achieve so much more.
That sounds pretty cool. So that's kind of that 31% more productive. I mean, as a starting point, I mean, we all want people who are more productive. We want people who will be able to push ahead and give us better quality of work. So what is it about happiness that drives that productivity? And what potentially are the signs that we need to look for where maybe that happiness at that point is being kind of chipped away and we need to do a little bit of maintenance?
I think like those 2 very big questions there.
I've only got big questions, Klaudia. I've only got big questions.
Okay, so happiness can help us to be more productive because the way it influences our perception. Okay, so we are much more optimistic of how we're dealing with challenges. We'll be quicker to finding effective solutions, and will be much more resilient when there will be difficulties on our way. Okay, so that's already, as a spike, increases our productivity of whatever we are working on. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then the second part of your question, which was, how do we kind of know that we're missing happiness?
Absolutely.
I think it's about our really reflecting on our overall satisfaction when it comes to work. So really thinking about, am I at work and am I able to make empowering decisions? Am I able to contribute to something bigger than me? Am I able to apply my strengths and solve problems effectively? I think those kind of questions can help us, give us an indication of how happy are we currently at work.
Makes perfect sense. So that kind of idea that when we face challenges, obviously our happiness can take a bit of a dip, and there are going to be people who are watching this who maybe have been made redundant or are looking for a new role. That's one of the biggest challenges that we can face in life, I think, to be honest with you. It's a lot of pressure. What can we do to try and manage the feelings around that? How can I try to maintain that kind of positive outlook, I guess?
So in order to really maintain our positive outlook, and believe me, I understand, I had a very tricky year this year, so I've been through the journey as well as many colleagues within the hospitality industry. I think the idea is to try to maintain this aspect of something called learned optimism. Okay, so it is about thinking that whatever we are experiencing now, first of all, is temporary. Okay, we can make changes that will impact our future. Secondly, is thinking about how we can be applying our strengths. Even if we're not working, are we applying our strengths all the time to get that meaning, to get that satisfaction? It's also about recognizing that, yes, maybe one part of our world is not currently working. We don't have a job, we're looking for something, and really appreciating and really appreciating the other positive events that are happening in our life. And final one, which is a big one, is do not take it personally. This is what's happening currently. It's an external crisis we're dealing with. It's not to do with our skills. It's not to do with us. So it's remembering of, do not take that personally and concentrate on what you can be changing right now, what's within your circle of control.
I like that. I like that a lot. And that it is a challenge. You know, I've been in that position myself where I've been made redundant, and you start off kind of thinking, yeah, it's cool. These things happen. Then maybe you get a couple of kind of yeses, a couple of no's at the wrong time. And then it's very easy to start questioning yourself and think, well, why has this happened to me? Yeah. And I think it is, I mean, I've been very lucky that I have a wife who said, this is not just happening to you, Kieran. This is happening to people. So we're not alone in this. And I think that's one of the key elements that we need to kind of keep our head focused around, is that there's a lot of people out there who are going through a similar sort of thing. And we can find support out there of people who want to help us and kind of get us through these situations.
Absolutely. And I think reach out for that support, utilize your network. It's quite nice to know that reach out for help and find people who could be your sponsors, people who can introduce you to other people, or maybe have a coach who can look at your strengths and how you can utilize them better. Network, really ask people for help, and don't be afraid to say that, yes, today I'm having a bad day, and it's okay. Also, I think it's very important to remember about the growth mindset. So the power of yet. It's temporary situation, and it's really reminding ourselves that, yes, we haven't found the right job as yet. We maybe don't have a certain skill yet. So remember that we are work in progress. We can adapt, we can learn, we have those resources to do that. It's just really reflecting on them, identifying your strengths and skills, and thinking how I can utilize them to move forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I guess it feels quite difficult sometimes, I think, because happiness kind of feels like a kind of ethereal thing that's just, man, how do I define this truly? It is just a feeling for a lot of folks, but it has such a huge impact on whether or not we are being productive and whether or not we are kind of being open to opportunity, whether or not we are actually kind of saying yes as much as we possibly can do, rather than just kind of taking the easier answer, which is often no. I mean, I have a mother-in-law. I love my mother-in-law, but her first answer to everything is no. I could stand an offer of £50 and she would say no. I think you're not even thinking about this. You're just going down this kind of learned behavior. It's kind of your instinct is to do this. So we have to be deliberate in our choices, and we have to think about how we can kind of affect that. So if my instinct is potentially to, I don't know, maybe embrace a slightly kind of a less positive mindset, what can I do to change that within myself? When I have that moment where I go to my mother and say, would you like £50? And she said no. How can I change that behavior from her to just go, yes, that'd be amazing, Kieran?
Sorry, but change your mindset, how you feel about that.
If I'm so that person whose first instinct is to kind of think no, or maybe look for the downside to what's being offered to them, because that's part of what her thinking is. She's been ingrained in her over the years to kind of be ready for the shoe to drop, as the saying comes, where the kick comes. So how do I just kind of change that behavior so I'm actually looking at the opportunity as being a positive opportunity, or something, just an act of kindness that somebody's going to give me, and just say, yeah, that's cool, let's do it, let's embrace that.
Well, I think it comes from really paying attention and looking after your happiness. I think that's really what it comes to, because we all suffer from something called happiness paradox, as in we all want to be happy, but we forget to look after it. We don't prioritize it. We keep chasing about certain aspects in our life, and we say to ourselves, well, if I cannot have a job, I cannot be happy. That's not true. We can be happy. Yes, we are in a difficult situation. We wish that this situation could be different, but we still could be happy. We actually need really little to be happy, if you think about that. So I think it's recognizing that, hey, I need to start taking care of my happiness. And if you recognize that, you then can start thinking and really appreciating the positive moments. So recognizing the act of kindness as an act of kindness and saying yes. Yes, maybe needing to go out of a comfort zone, and maybe it's an opportunity you never done before, but yes, saying yes to that because you're recognizing that this will help with your happiness. So I think there is that recognition and a conscious process of look after your happiness. That's what we really try to achieve with the podcast, is to dare people to be happy and really start implementing time and tools to help you to do that. Because otherwise we will be chasing one thing after another, expecting it will bring us happiness, but it may not if we don't really learn those skills that help us to be happy.
Amazing. One of the things I love about your podcast is the challenge that you set at the end of it. So let's think about a challenge for anybody who's watching this video right now. What can we do as a challenge for somebody who is looking to be happier? Maybe somebody who's in their job, or maybe somebody who is kind of potentially in between work. What challenge can we set them, Klaudia?
We can set them amazing challenge. So I would dare people to consider 3 specific elements of happiness in the workplace, okay? And this is a fantastic model done by Daniel Pink. You can read about it more in depth, but there are 3 specific elements. You can have a look. So sit down, reflect, think where you are in those elements. So whether you're at work now, how you feel about them. If you're looking for work, how their new opportunities can help you to get satisfaction in those elements. So are you ready? 3 things.
Let's do it.
Okay. 1, autonomy. Okay, so are you having autonomy and are you empowered to make decisions and make impact in your role? Mastery. What skills do you want to develop? Okay, what skills would you like to explore? How can you use your strengths daily? If you use your strengths daily, you are 18 times more engaged in the work, okay, that you do. And final one, purpose. What matters for you when it comes to work. Why do you work? And how your work can contribute and solve one of the world's biggest problems.
Love that.
Okay, so let's think big. Let's think big, but sit down, reflect about autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Very important components of happiness in the workplace.
Wicked. I like that a lot. Look at that. I mean, I've challenged you with to come up with a challenge, and boom, out you come with it straight away. Absolutely solid. Well, I think we've covered some ground there on why we should be considering happiness in the workplace. And I think we've set people thinking, which I think is always a good starting point. So thank you very much. That was absolutely amazing.
Thank you.